What is the difference between provincial and federal marriage contracts and a urfi marriage contract? Okay, so firstly, civil marriage contracts are not, so the marriage contract is a contract, but that has religious elements. So they differ, the scholars differ that marriage, is it min al-ibadat or is it from the mu'amalat? Is it a devotional act or it's a transactional act? But it is both. The scholars say legally it is primarily a contract, but it has clear devotional elements, which is why, for example, according to the majority of Islamic scholarship, getting married has greater reward than engaging in nafil acts of worship. So Jack and Jill went up the hill, they fell in love. But now Jack thinks about it, that I could just, I own this hut on top of the hill for the next 2 years. And he's running his own business, he's got money. I could either stay in this hut, there's good internet on top of the hill, so I could engage in devotion and seeking knowledge, or I could come down the hill and marry Jill. Which has greater reward? So there's difference of opinion. According to Imam Shafi'i, if you don't fear the haram or temptation in itself, if you are actually going to dedicate yourself to devotion and knowledge, you'd have greater reward. But Imam Abu Hanifa and the majority of Islamic scholars have said no. And also, even if that were theoretically true, but practically most people won't do it. Jack stays in his hut, he's just going to surf the internet. He's not going to seek knowledge, and he's not going to engage in devotion. That's what most people do, right? So that is, so the civil marriage is not in itself a nikah. It's not in itself a nikah. Unless the elements of the nikah, that there's a clear offer and a clear acceptance, and there are witnesses who know that there's a marriage taking place. But if you see how a civil marriage takes place, there isn't an ijab and qabul, etc. And we don't recognize non-Muslims' authority over Muslims in religious affairs, right? And in that, we should not behave like doormats, right? We have a right to practice our religion, right? We'll try to practice it where we are. If you stop us and we are not able to seek our rights, then we migrate. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked, أَلَمْ تَكُنْ أَرْضُ اللَّهِ وَاسِعَةً. Was Allah's earth not vast enough? So you migrate somewhere where you can practice your deen. Where's practice the core of your deen? Because that is the reality of you. Every other identity besides you being a servant of Allah is just a contingent identity that you're not bound by in any absolute term. You're not bound by the fact that you're Punjabi or Hyderabadi or Damascus or Jordanian or Ethiopian or Eritrean. It's a contingent identity. Right? It's part of who you are, but that's not your reality. So there are messy situations where someone only got that. So a couple, Jack and Jill, didn't know anything about deen, so they just got a civil marriage. Then as soon as you discover, get a nikah done. Get a nikah done. Right? And in some situations we see, could it be validated? Yeah, their parents were there at the civil ceremony, etc. It's okay. So would there be enough elements? But that would be a fatwa situation. Those are very sensitive elements. One goes to someone who knows who knows the fiqh, because sometimes they're sensitive situations. Okay.
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله